Welcome to the Slade Ham experiment. Hi, hello, how are you? Is anybody else just tired? Is it just me? This is my midnight spaceship. You're on board. I don't want to give the impression that your pilot's going to fall asleep at the stick or anything like that. But, put your seatbelt on if you're not up going to the bathroom. Would you? There might be some turbulence. I'm at the end of a couple of marathon projects. My body gets like this. It's just sort of giving in. I know what's going on. It's just fatigue. It's input overwhelm. It's all this stuff. I'm an introvert. My soul's not made for this. Let's get into the episode, shall we? I was at the coffee shop earlier today, and I'm so blissfully ignorant to what's going on in the news right now. This concentrated, deliberate effort I made to just turn it off. It's pretty astounding how well it's worked. Except today, I'm in there. There's TVs on in the back. There's, it's the ambiance, whatever. There's something on about the Trump trial. And relax. This will not get political. Tranquilo. But it reminded me, because the coverage was very... it had made up its mind. Is that the way to put it? And it reminds me that that's what the media is in its entirety. That's why I stepped away from it. But what I think we should do, whatever our beliefs are, whatever you believe, whatever you think, if you just go watch your news channel of choice, let's take the two extremes, Fox on one side, MSNBC on the other side. If these are your options, then what you get if you watch them is a reinforcement of what you already thought when you showed up. They're not there to pass along facts. If you watch the way they're covering what I would imagine is this trial, Fox is probably covering it less, but also remarking on the stoicism of the former president, how quietly and stoically he's taking this whole thing in stride. And I'm sure the left, the MSNBC, is screeching about how he's a criminal and should be shot, or So I think about that a lot, and I think about how nobody really believes these extremes all on their own. We get pushed there slowly, right? Those people on the far sides. When we get to those edges, we find ourselves with wind blown in the sails of our own dumb beliefs. We find ourselves further down the side that we landed on. We should check ourselves. We should come back. Maybe we should binge the left and the right. Alternatively, people are starting to do that with streaming services. Instead of getting Netflix and Amazon Prime and HBO Max and Hulu and Disney and Peacock, instead of getting all of those, which I'll probably complain about more in a minute, they go, well, maybe I'll just watch everything that's on Netflix right now. What a wonderful strategy. I'll just watch all of Netflix till I'm Netflixed out, and then I'll cancel it and I'll get Disney, and then I'll watch all of Disney till I'm tired of it. And when those 3 days are up, I'll cancel whatever long it takes. But if you do this for months and you binge your stuff, you only really have to watch or pay for one service at a time. I think we should do that with our political ideologies. You try to stay in that middle range, right? You try to not venture too far out to the left or the right. You watch Fox News until it pushes you to the right, and as soon as you say something dumb like, I should be able to bring my gun and do a nursery, we got to put you on Rachel Maddow and let him talk about you know what I meant. Let them talk about stuff until you sneak a little bit further that way. And then when you're like, you misgendered my dog, we put you right back on some Tucker Carlson, and we keep you right in the middle of the road, like that grape in Karate Kid. The Goldilocks zone is a wonderful place. It's where Earth sits in the solar system, right in the sweet spot. That's what the Goldilocks zone is. You know the fairy tale. Was that a fairy tale? Was that a nursery rhyme? Didn't rhyme, so it must have been a fairy tale. But then Goldilocks doesn't really, she punk ass didn't even get to be a princess or anything. Her and Little Miss Muffet, what are those? Those are nursery rhymes. Why don't I know the difference? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's a children's book. When did this come out? Probably the Germans wrote it. I don't know anything. Goldilocks is a little chick who broke into the bear's house. A little conniving child with no boundaries and parental issues, obviously. Just goes breaking in the bears' houses while they're out picking berries or doing whatever bears do. And then she breaks in with her little complaining ass. This period is too cold. Well, of course it's cold. It's for a baby. You're stealing food from a baby. You terrible, terrible person. And then you just put it down with your germy mouth. You've been walking through the woods. Then you're over there testing Papa Bear's stuff. I don't know. Who had the cold porridge? Was that the baby? Should have been the baby. Yeah, because then his bed would have been too... What? Do I not even know how Goldilocks works? I started talking about this. It stands to reason that as a kid, Goldilocks would have more in common with the kid. But it also stands to reason that the kid's tiny and the papa's big and the mama's in the middle, and that would be the Goldilocks. How does this work? The bed? What does she have? A bed? Some porridge? All right, I'm so confused. I just know Goldilocks means the shit in the middle, and you're going to have to live with that. There's an opposite phenomenon, which is where we happen to be, which is, I guess, the anti-Goldilocks zone, the Silverlocks zone, or Bronzylocks zone, whatever. The bad spot in between good options, right? That's where we are in a lot of things. Technologically, we're there right now, right? We're in between the way we used to consume media and the way we will consume media. And it's this middle ground, terrible place where no one's figured it out. Other tech is that way too. Electric cars, self-driving cars. These are technologies that they're in between. They're between the way we used to do stuff and the way we will do stuff. But the Goldilocks portion here is the least tolerable option. The edges are soft and comfortable. The middle is hard and difficult. That's where we are with some cold ass, hard ass times. Think about I was in Louisville. I rented a car while I was up there for the week. They rented me the manager special. So I got an electric car. Well, of course that's the manager special in Louisville because there's no places to charge a car in Louisville. Did you know that? There's like 4. One of them's credit card machine is broken. The other one takes 10.5 hours to charge your car halfway. And the other one's a Tesla. So there's like one in like a Walmart parking lot. So you got to drive. I drove 60 miles over the course of about, 2 hours trying to find a place to charge this car. And then another hour to charge it. All while, mind you, feeling like I'm being stabbed in the back. Today is the first day I haven't felt like I've had a little child with a razor blade hit me in the shoulder blade. It's just starting to feel better. I was in the heat of it when I was in Louisville. And driving is the worst position for it. So I'm driving, trying to charge this thing. And the whole time, it's one of these cars that it won't drive for you, but it won't let you drive the way you want to drive. Did I complain about this yet? The way the car auto corrects for you. So you try to go, I don't always use my blinker. If I can't see a car behind me, I will just drift into the right lane peacefully. The way my car wants to. But if you try to do it in this car, it jerks you back onto the road. Back into you. And it makes a weird sound. It's the worst of both worlds. That is my point. Either let the car drive me or let me drive the car. This anti-Goldilocks zone we're doing in the middle is terrible. It's the same as we're starting to, and all of these services, all of these things, they're all just trying to bilk a little bit more out of you, right? They're all just trying to get a little bit more of a hand in your pocket. They're slowly, why does Uber have tears. Can I be tiered out? I'm all no more tears. That's Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo. No more tears. Why can't something cost what it costs? Uber, I'm talking specifically to you. Surge pricing and tiered pricing. There's nobody's going out and buying new cars to become Uber elite drivers. No one's doing that. These are just the same cars. You're just choosing to give me the worst of the worst. Well, that's fine. Can I get a below that tier, please? Can I get a fuck it tier? Can I get a guy on his first day training tier? I don't care what it costs. I just want to pay for what it costs to have the thing, plus a little bit of margin for you. You're allowed to take a cut, but you're not allowed to just arbitrarily decide what miles cost. What does it cost to go a mile, Uber? Tell me. Don't convert it to time based on this, why can't a thing just be a stupid thing? 1 mile is 7 giraffes times 3 Whataburger if you do it between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. But then after midnight, it's 4 French fries times 3 light bulbs. And if you just do that, it's all in the fees. We all include it in the fees. Well, there's this fee, and there's an airport fee, and there's a driver fee, and there's a cleaning fee, and there's whatever other fees. And then there's just a fee. Just a fee. Stop making shit up, companies. Well, if you want, I know we said no commercials, but now if you want no commercials, we just put commercials in the no commercials part because it wasn't real, we never said no commercials. We just said no commercials. Amazon Prime. If you want free delivery, just up to 25, just ring up a little bit more and you get your free delivery. Well, I pay you for free delivery, you jack smack. This is the most unbelievable. Airlines do it. Well, if you want to sit upright, I mean, we're going to tell you you could get a seat. They got standing room only on JetBlue or some shit. It's. Do you remember where you could just call a place and have food delivered? Now, if I want food delivered, it's this plus a fee, plus 20 more fees, plus this fee. And if I want you to bring it, I don't know, in the next 45 minutes or so, I got to pay an additional fee. What do you mean? You didn't know that I would want you to bring my food without making 23 stops first. They're French fries. When else could I want them? I will pay you the amount if you tell me that's what it costs. But this arbitrary last minute adding stuff, and then you try to leave and you can't. And you can't leave, but one, because there's 10 services. It's not just one. There's an app for every single service now. If there was an app that I just used to park, that would be fantastic. But there's a different app for every single city. When I was up in New York, I was at an event. I go to this thing in the parking lot. I tried to give the dude a 20, and he just looked at me like I handed him kryptonite or uranium. He just, and I went, what? He goes, well, there's an app. And he tells me where the app is. I go, oh, okay, thank you. And I go to the app. And then I just look over and I realize that all the kid's doing is telling people to go to the app. Now, I know they went to the app because the kids in the parking lot are pocketing 20s left and right. There's no possible way you could quantify how many cars come in and come out, right? But this app is even worse because no one's checking to see if anyone's using the app. They're just going, hey, use the app. And then you go, okay, thank you. You put your phone back in your pocket and you walk away and everything's just, no one cares. I'm turning into this dude. But you try to leave these places and they beg you to, oh, I'm sorry. Would you like a discount? Would you please stay? Are you sure? Yes, I click sure. Are you sure? Sure? Yes, I'm sure. Are you sure cubed? I am all of that. Can I leave? Well, here's an offer. It is the most abusive, codependent relationship I am in with all of technology. If any human being treated you like this, you could turn them in for abuse. You could be an abused person. You would be entitled to so many rights if another person treated you like this. I've lived through this, so I recognize it. But this amount of, I'll be who you want me to be if you just don't leave. Just don't go, and I'll just be $20 a month. Well, why you been charging me $60 a month for the last year? That seems a little wrong. Well, you could have been charging me this the whole time. Why do you know this is what you want? You thought I just wanted to spend all this money on? Come on. Have we not been here before? My current tour is called the Psycho Survival Tour, so perhaps I am a bit more sensitive to this at the moment than I should be. Crazy people. Whew, crazy people. I don't mean crazy like mentally actually crazy. I mean crazy by choice. A lack of boundaries on your own, of your own accord. Those are the ones I'm done with. A friend of mine. Sup, Aiden? Good friend of mine. Manchester. All the way in the UK. I can't do the Manchester accent. I can't even do that. I just whatever Michael Caine. I'm terrible at accents. Tells me I should watch Baby Reindeer. Now it's all the rage. It's in the top 10 on Netflix. This was early. Thanks for the heads up. I started watching it. If you haven't seen it, no spoilers. I'll try not to. This guy is involved. It's based on a true story. It's written by I can't remember the guy's first name. Gad is his last name. It's not Josh. It's the cool one. This guy. It's really well done, but like I didn't realize I might still have some PTSD, and I do. There was a couple of spots that were. Whew, but one, I just hit stop and I just turned it off for a hot minute, and then, without any spoilers, there are a significant amount of emails from this crazy woman in this show though, and I've been on that receiving end too. So much. Sometimes when people do that kind of stuff, and it's over 25 years, been more than a few people. I just will filter the email address over to it all goes to one inbox. So I got something to show the cops. I don't have to see them. I just filter them. You learn little tricks so you don't have to get confronted with people's insanity daily. But why do people do this stuff is what gets me. I don't mean the crazy people. Crazy people, they're crazy. But the people who do it by choice, it has to be boredom. It has to be a lack of inspiration in your own life? Is there so little going on that you have to find drama or create it in order to feel part of something? That's what I ask myself about that relationship all the time. Not just about her behavior, but even about my own attachment to that drama when I was in it. Was it because I wasn't doing anything that I was like, this tension? Human beings need tension. We need to build it and break it. That's how we develop stories. It's how we identify with the world. So is that the reason that they act that way? That we act that way? That we're so attracted to this drama? I just know I can't deal with it anymore. Those people are no longer my responsibility to fix. Maybe I feel that way because I've done my time. Maybe I feel like if we're all supposed to do a little bit of time, right? Like in Japan or Sweden, I don't know if either one of these countries does this, that makes you join the military for a year or two, right? Did I do my designated time as a human being, understanding and participating in the world of absolute insanity and violence and irrational behavior and thought? Did I? Because I did. And if that's the case, then I am entitled 100% to not go back into that. Would you ask a recovered heroin addict to go into a flop house? The only way I know to get yourself out of any situation at all, good, bad, doesn't matter. The way you end a repetitive cycle is by creating a vacuum. I talk about this a lot. I'm emboldened in my beliefs about the idea. I'll read a quote in a little bit, but creating these vacuums, these spaces, these places to put new things. Sometimes they get created on their own. But whether they get created on their own or whether we create them, what's most important is that they don't get filled automatically. And that's what tends to happen a lot if we're not paying attention. That's why I worry about this generation of humanity going forward, because we're not filling in our wants and our gaps on our own. Soon as there's another one, something else swoops in because it's all banging at the door, clamoring for attention like it's Black Friday. Ads and stories and posts and things. Over the last 3 years, I've talked about how trying to share something has changed, how all of the way we communicate and participate in this social experiment has changed. Kids and even adults right now, we're being a bit programmed, not by lefts or rights, but by this machine. We're becoming we're like automatons, if you will. If this, then that. The way we scroll and flip and consume, very little of it's under our control. I wish I could open up an app that would just tell me how many times I opened up apps throughout the day, right? And I'm not a fatalist. I don't believe we're doomed, right? Everything adapts. Maybe the future of humanity, we all live in a box on a desk and we talk to each other through brainwaves or radio waves, and we all live forever and we don't have bodies and they never get sick. Maybe that's where we're all headed. But we're currently in that anti-Goldilocks zone in between that. What we used to be and what we might be is pretty uncomfortable. Because I don't know how a kid would find their passion today. How do you know what you're into if it's constantly being fed to you, if it's already pre-validated, if you're not choosing from the everything that is potentially out there? Because that's what I remember most as a child. I remember the magic of being able to explore, right? My mom raised 4 of us. She's a school teacher, single parent. So basically, when I wasn't in school, I was a free-range chicken. I had the run of the neighborhood far as I wanted to go. We had boundaries. We weren't supposed to go past certain points, right? We lived on my little town of Beaumont. There was a little road that went down, and it had no outlet. It went back into a neighborhood. It had about 3 blocks, right? Like a little, maybe just a figure 8. And we had a little cul-de-sac before that. There was this big field that this was attached to this house, the Brockoffs. We just used to play in this dude's yard. Like, didn't even ask. We would football, baseball, didn't matter. We broke windows, broke trees. It was insane. But we would just get on our bikes and ride. There was a big ditch. You could take your bike back there. If it was really rainy, you could totally drown. We would get in fights. We hit each other with sticks. We would build forts. There was a little shed at the end of the road where I used to build booby traps. There were trees that we would climb. You wander through the woods. I would be 11 years old and I'd go walk in half that city. I would go to the ditches and then just walk behind the houses as far as I could. It would be cold. And I used to read the King Arthur legend, so I always laugh about having a stick sword, but that's like real when I was a kid. I would walk with my little sword stick. That's how you discover stuff, right? That's how you learn to play. You learn to let your imagination fill in the blanks. And we just focus now on so much nonsense. We don't question anything. We don't dig into the bones of it. All the magic's there, especially now. I get it. In the 50s and 60s, you just believe what they fed you because you had 3 books and that's all you had. That was all the knowledge in the world. But now, damn it, all of this technology, we have access to all of the knowledge in the world, the collective genius of humanity, every discovery, every exploration, every experiment, every outcome, all of it. And large language models to help us process it. And brilliant minds to ask questions. And we're digging into the nature of reality and what things are made of. And the fact that nothing is solid to even begin with. This should blow our fucking minds. Every single day, we should be waking up astounded that whatever this is, we, against all the odds, have managed to land a vehicle in this experiment, in this whatever it may be. We got to drive one of these, right? One of the 100 billion that will ever be issued ever. We got one, and we got to do our part for as long as we could drive that thing till we ran out of gas. That's incredible. And instead of sitting here trying to dig in and figure out why and what and how, and just sit jaw-dropped at the amount of unbelievably uncanny beauty is actually around us, we're fighting over this stuff. We're still believing. I had a friend die not that long ago because he thinks Jesus lives in his blood, and he's just gone because no one sat down and asked hard questions. We didn't question or double click on a single belief. We just rode with it. Too scared to remove something and sit with that absence and see what else might be out there. Man, I've been ranty today. The reason I say create a vacuum, I'm fighting it now. I'm realizing that a lot of the things that I've done for a very large percentage of my life, not all of them will go with me going forward. I know my passions, I know my talents, I know the stuff I love. Not a whole lot changes, but I'm interested in creating space for other things. In the few instances that I've done it, not all of which I talk public about, the results have been extraordinary. Seth Godin, who I'm a big fan of, master marketer, father of all modern marketing, if you will. Watch part of the special. Big fan. His podcast called Akimbo. If you haven't listened to it, it's off air now, but extraordinary. He said, I did 5 years of Akimbo. It was in the top 1% of all podcasts. And then I just stopped. And I stopped not because I didn't love it. I did love it. I stopped because if I kept doing it, there's something else I wouldn't do instead. And creating a vacuum is required so that I will do the hard work of filling the vacuum. But if I just keep doing the thing, then there is no vacuum. It's off a podcast he did with Tim Ferriss, I think, recently, and like just the other week. And it was so cool to hear it echoed because that's how I feel. So if you can create a vacuum, my advice to you is to defend it and defend it with everything you have till you find something worth putting in it. You got to treat it like it's a Las Vegas nightclub, like there's stuff clamoring to get in. There's bros and there's tech guys and there's Indian dudes with the necklaces from the kiosks at the mall, and there's other dudes with mullets, and there's people who flew in from North Carolina and we can't understand them. They're all trying to get in. And you're a Vegas nightclub owner who wants nothing but hot, beautiful women in your nightclub. So you're going to have to hire some big dudes to stand there by the velvet rope and tell all the bad stuff is not allowed in your vacuum. Shall we get out of here? I got to go. That's an episode. I'm going to do some giveaways. We'll talk about them next week. I'm part of the set from my special. I think we're going to do a giveaway. I haven't decided how. It's cool. It works. The buttons even work. It lights up. Does it? Yeah, something. Whatever. We'll figure that out. My newsletter, the best way to keep up with me and my dates. I'm adding them all the time. I'm coming to a lot of places this summer. Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, back to Louisville. Where else? It's Canada. I'll be up in Ontario and Toronto and Ottawa. I'm likely adding dates in Little Rock and Oklahoma City. I might be in Wichita. There's all sorts of stuff potentially on the books. Sladeham.com. My special's out. It's new and awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. And with that, I'll see you on another episode soon.